Hello and welcome back to Real Chalk Reviews. This review is for Tyler Perry's Zatima. This is season 3, episode 7, Losing It. So we open up the episode where we left off with Zach on a rampage trying to get back to Fatima so he can get the facts. Now, I don't know why Belinda felt the need to jump up in his face trying to speak to him, but he just gave her the hand and kept it pushing. Zach, he finally makes it to Fatima and he says to her, I'm going to ask you one time and one time only. Did Jeremiah hit you? She's standing there shaking in her boots, not saying a mumbling word. He's like, don't make me ask you again. And I'm like, pipe down, relax. What's with this tone? I don't like it. What are you going to do if you have to ask her 10 more times? What are you going to do, Zach? But anyway, she tells him no. Zach wants to know, did he push you? She says no to that. So Nate yells out to Fatima, I already told him what time it was, so you might as well tell him the truth. Now Fatima wants to beat him mad and tell him to shut the F up. Zach is like, look, what are the facts? Fatima wants to go home and talk about it because she doesn't want everybody in her business. Zach is telling her, look, they're all in our business. I'm the only one in the dark. He wants to know, when did this happen? And Nate tells him a few days ago. So now he's really feeling betrayed and played with everybody all up in his face lying to him. Zach is in disbelief and all he can say is wow. And this is just a side note that has absolutely nothing to do with the scene, but those heels that Fatima has on are fire. So Connie, she yells at Tony like he's a child and makes him go chase after grown-ass Zach. Meanwhile, Fatima is confronting Nate because she wants to know, why did he do that? Why did he tell Zach? She says that that was not his place. Nate said there was never going to be a perfect time to tell, and he needed to know. And at this point, I'm over all of it because these grown behind people need to have their behind at work somewhere, not chasing Zach all over the city so he won't talk to his own brother. Whatever needed to be said should have been said the day that it happened. It should have been dealt with and handled. Whatever was going to happen, it was going to happen regardless. And truth be told, I'm sick of it. Nate, he apologizes to Fatima for saying that he just wanted Zach to know. She really didn't give a damn, and she goes to walk off. And of course, Connie wants to jump in her purse and go with her. And she's like, Connie, no, I'm fine. And she insists that she goes with Fatima. So Nate, he's feeling bad about the situation because he's lost his best friend. Belinda calls herself trying to comfort him, but all the while, the heifer is low-key being messy. So we go over there to Angela's house and she's still having a conversation with Bryce about their friendship and if he intentionally ran his car into someone else's, and he claims it's just an accident. So out of the blue, he wants to know, does she think Zach will ever talk to him again? I mean, we know this man loves him some Zach. She's like, well, maybe, yeah, he did come to see you in the hospital. So he wants to know, should he call him? Angela says, I don't think he'll answer the phone for you, but then turns around and says, maybe you should just go over there. Now, Angela, riddle me this. Why would Zach want him to pop up to his house if he's not going to answer his phone call? Does that make sense? No, ma'am, it does not. And even for a split second, Bryce had enough sense to know that that wasn't a good idea. Now, if you're just trying to get Bryce up out of your house, just say that. But the fact that you know everything that Zach and Fatima are currently going through, and you're going to tell this annoying-ass weirdo to go over there and force Zach to see him and wear him down is totally insane. So Sean, he comes over there with that bird nest on his head, and she's like, come on, let's go. And as usual, he says, where are we going? Look, I'm sick and tired of hearing that. You already know when you go to this lady's house, you're going straight to the bedroom and a hunch. And like she told you, this is not a soup kitchen. There's no need to be frolicking all around the kitchen trying to heat up nothing. Eat before you get there. So over there at Zach and Fatima's, we got Pop-Up Preston sitting outside once again. This time he's actually on the phone calling Zach and not getting a response, but he's waiting for Zach to get there so they can sign the contracts. Now apparently he's been sitting out there for a while because Deja comes out with a glass of tea that was looking hot as the desert and asking him, don't you want to cool off? Where's the ice, Deja? Where's the ice? He turns it down and says he has a cooler in the back. So she gets to doing what Deja does and he says, look, there you go again, being aggressive, always talking sexual. He's saying, I think you're not really this person that you portray yourself to be. I think you're trying to hide so that I don't see the real you. So she's trying to ask him, what is he talking about? What is he trying to say? And he says, never mind at first. And then he says, look, I just feel like you have everything that you need. You don't have to be extra all the time. And that's when we see Bryce pulling up. And where did Bryce get another car from? He sold his car. And I know damn well Enterprise, Avis, or Hertz didn't rent him another car after he totaled theirs on purpose. So Preston and Bryce, they're standing outside of his truck. And I can't understand for the life of me why Preston is holding this hot-ass glass of tea. Put it down, Preston. Bryce, he thanks Preston for bailing him out. And Preston was like, no problem. They talk about Zach and why he's not answering Bryce's phone calls, and Preston tells him, you should have told him what you were doing. Now, he actually did tell him what he was doing, but Zach told him don't do it. That was the issue. And nevertheless, he says, well, it won't happen again. Preston says, I know it won't happen again, especially if I'm involved. I said, ooh, I know that's right. I know it's out of courtesy, but they keep asking Bryce if he's good with the 33%, and I feel like he doesn't have a damn choice. And if he does, just buy him out, please. So they have this awkward silence for about 10 minutes. I don't know if somebody forgot their lines or what. But Bryce has the nerve to tell Preston, oh, I didn't know you had that kind of money. And truth be told, it wasn't your business to know he had that kind of money. You don't even know him. What are you talking about? Oh, he irks me. This scene between Bryce and Preston went on way too long for no apparent reason. He asks Preston can he stay there with him to wait on Zach. He sends him to the cooler to get something to drink, and I think he got on Preston's nerves so bad, Preston almost drank the hot tea from Deja. Fatima and Connie, they're in the car driving around, and they're on the phone with Tony. They're tracking Zach through his location through the phone, and they're telling Tony he needs to find Jeremiah. Don't tell Nate, because they know that Nate is going to go and tell Zach. Connie, she goes into one of her spills about how Zach trusts Fatima, and basically she thinks Fatima has been good for Zach. Connie had already let it be known that she tends to wear people down, and you can tell that Fatima is starting to let her guard down with her. She tells her that she thinks that she's cool, but she's going to keep her good eye on her. And will. So we see Belinda and Nate walking and talking, and they happen to run up on Jeremiah. They're trying to tell him that Zach knows what he did and he's looking for him and he needs to get somewhere and hide. Jeremiah don't give two rats ass. He's walking around here living his best life high as hell. So Nate, he has the audacity to tell Jeremiah that they're going to take him to Belinda's house. I'm like, how you going to offer to take somebody to somebody else's house? Belinda was like, hell to the no. I don't want his funky tail up in my house stealing up all my stuff. But Nate put his foot down. He said what he said, and guess what? Jeremiah was headed to Belinda's house. So Tony, he spots Zach and he walks up on him. Zach, of course, doesn't want to be bothered, so the two of them, they get into it. They're going back and forth. Tony is over there apologizing, saying that people were only trying to protect him. Zach really doesn't want to hear all of that. He's saying Fatima lied to him and calling it protection, and that's the same thing Miss Gladys used to do, and now she's no longer here. And really, at the end of the day, Zach has not dealt with his mom's death. He has a lot of built-up anger in him, but Tony is trying to tell him he has a lot to lose, and finding Jeremiah is not where it's at. Zach really doesn't want to hear all of that. He's telling Tony, look, if you want to make things right with me, if we're bros for life, tell me where Jeremiah is. Tony hesitates as if he really knows where Jeremiah is, and Zach says, F you. Zach tries to leave, and Tony puts his hand on him to try to stop him. And Zach is now getting ready to try to take his jacket off because now he wants to fight. Tony tells him, don't do this. Zach says, don't put your hands on me. So Fatima and Connie, they make it there. They jump out the car. Fatima runs up to him like, look, Zach, I'll tell you everything. He's like right here, right now. So she puts it out there first and foremost. He did not hit or push me. He thought I had some money. He tried to take it. We wrestled and I fell and hit my head. He wanted to know where did she hit her head, and he peeped that she had on so much makeup, and he was like, I was wondering why you had on that much makeup. Take it off. Take the makeup off, Fatima. I'm like, really, Zach? She's not going to take it off in this moment. Fatima asked him, can we just please talk about this when we get home? So he wanted to know what she bruised up, and she said just a little bit, it's really nothing, and he could not believe it. He tells her, you think you could tell me something like that and I'm going home? Zach was over it. He was like, all right. Fatima quickly got out of that little mode, and she was like, all right, wherever you go, I'm going to follow you, so where we going? Zach pulled out his phone and told her good luck with that and walked to his car. You can hear the little alert on Fatima's phone, and she looked at it and screamed out at him, oh, did you just stop sharing your location with me? Zach pulled off, leaving Fatima, Connie, and Tony standing there looking crazy, and her saying, I hope he doesn't find Jeremiah. And that's where the episode ends. Ooh, child. All I can say is this is not going to end well, but we already knew that. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.